Shout out to DJ Playboy. Shout out to Step on Stage and Ladies Scream Like I'm Keith.
Let's be honest. It should be the days about Jesus.
Right.
But then next it should be me. Obviously heard about Jeffrey.
Yeah, I heard about Jeffrey Epstein, but the I don't know how to pronounce her name, Ghislane or whatever. Like she.
Why don't you like him?
I just don't like him. I don't like the cut of his jib. I think the word they use is protest. I'm like, what are they on January 6th? Are they saying that these people shouldn't have got arrested? I was just, man, because shit is fucking weird nowadays, our world.
Hey, listen, world, let me just let you know something real quick. I go by the name of Ayo Niche, and right now, you're listening to Perfect Talk with DJ Playboy. Keith, what up, homies?
Perfect.
Yeah, my name is Puka Puka.
What's good, y'all? It's your man DJ Playboy back with another edition of the Perfect Talk podcast. And I do no episode, not any, without my dog, my man, my
Girl
partner.
scream like I'm Keith.
What it do, brethren?
Hey, what up?
What it do, man?
Feeling good.
New year.
Yelling random shit. Yeah, New Year, man. First of the year.
Yeah, man. Congratulations. We made it to another year. You know what I mean? It's a blessing. Definitely gonna be a big year, 2022. See what's going on, man. How you been though? What's up, man? You do anything for New Year's? You know what's crazy? Like, I be wondering what y'all do for New Year's. Like, we in the text chat, but like for some reason around, I don't know what none of y'all do for New Year's.
Rona, man.
True.
Rona, ain't nobody doing nothing. We just popped a little champagne. I think somebody sent us a gift basket with some champagne in it, so we just popped that. Sat in the backyard. And that's it, just a little family affair.
Gotcha. What
you was up to? Going nuts?
No, I didn't do nothing. I laid low myself. But that's funny you say that because I know a lot of DJs, like, so they be in the club on New Year's Eve, and I'm like, numbers is blowing up. I was like, nah, not me. But that's the funny thing about, I'm really, not to switch gears too fast, but like I'm really trying to get on that metaverse type shit. Like I'm really trying to figure that out and be like an early adapter to that because I don't want to be out in nightclubs. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's one thing to it, right? Like there's a live aspect to it. And I get like, I was talking to Niche about this and I was telling her like, I want to get on, start doing shit on Twitch, start streaming. And she was like, aren't you going to miss the live atmosphere, like, you know what I mean, the feedback from the people, you know what I mean, they telling you right on the spot they love it, and I'm like, nah, not at all. Like I want to be in my crib, I want to be chilling, I want to be comfortable. I want to figure out this metaverse shit and figure out how to get paid off of that.
He said nope, wrong. I don't want to be nowhere near them people, them animals.
Nah, I don't know. Like I get it. Like there's always like, I guess maybe because I came up doing hip hop parties, so there's always an element of violence, right? When you do a party, and that's any party. It's not just hip hop parties, but it's, you know, anything can happen at a nightclub. There could be a stampede. You just seen what happened at Astro World. Shit could get out of hand real quick if the right people aren't in charge of the venue, of how everything's ran. So you got that aspect to it. You just mentioned the health aspect with Corona. You know, people was out there. They knew the numbers was up. They didn't care. They was like, yo, I got to get my party on. So you really got people like just thinking about themselves in terms of a public health aspect. You know what I mean? And that's from anything from now we dealing with the Rona, but those people, STDs, you know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers knew they was burning in the nightclub. Still trying to holler. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then it's just, I don't know. It's just, there's a certain level to it. And I think there's a future, and I could be wrong. Maybe I'm betting on the wrong side, but I think there's a future definitely, and people would like to still enjoy music and still enjoy events, but from the comfort of their home. Yeah, a lot of times, you know, my fault, not to cut you off, my fault, my bad.
You heard of Web 3.0. Well, you mentioned the metaverse. That's pretty much it. Like, people just building that world digitally. And I guess to your point of, you know, you could probably throw a whole party or like host a video game party or any type of party online, whether it's amongst friends, they doing some kind of thing, or, you know, depending on how things go, schools might even start having like virtual dances. I don't know how that shit will work, but who knows?
Well, you know what I was thinking about too? Like what if you reach like the pandemic changed the world, right? So I'm sure there's a population of people out there that'll feel like, yo, I don't want to live in one place. If I could work virtually, I just want to travel around. You know what I mean? I might want to spend 6 months out, like when it's cold in New York, I might want to spend 6 months in LA or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, and then, so the only thing really holding them back would be their kid being in school. But like, there's got to be a future in virtual schooling, right? Because there's homeschooling's an industry, right? So I'm assuming there's got to be like some people who be like, yo, I'd rather just do the virtual shit. Like, we could just all travel. I make sure my kids sit down for a couple hours, do their school, and then we go about our vacations.
Word. And them same people raising some scarred ass kids. They never had a friend for more than a year.
Well, isn't that the argument against homeschooling in general? But it still exists. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, there's some people who feel like they don't want their kid to go to school because the influence of the people they're gonna meet and people they're gonna talk to is gonna be stronger than the influence that they have over their own kids. I don't necessarily subscribe to that, but I know there's a population of people out there who do. So I'd imagine maybe this virtual school thing might make things, you know what I'm saying, a lot easier for them. Or even like you see it right now. I've never been to an NFL game. I've been to like college football games. I've never been to an NFL game, but from what I hear, the experience is doper on TV than it is being live. So, you know what I'm saying? Maybe there's more of an industry in this virtual reality shit where you could sit from whatever seat you want to, skybox, fucking, you know what I'm saying, 50-yard line, front row, wherever you want to sit, because you have that experience that you wouldn't be able to maybe obtain in real life. You know what I mean? So it's like there's a future in that. Like more the shared experience is now better for everybody because they get to get it from the best seat in the house.
Yeah, the shit got potential. I heard Nike was making kicks for like the metaverse. Like I don't even know how that works. I think like your avatar would have them on or something.
Yeah, you're gonna spend money.
Yeah.
You're gonna like there's gonna be some type of money you could spend. Might be a cryptocurrency of some sort that either already exists or will come up. But like, I definitely see a future in it. People buying real estate on it. You know, like so I don't even really know. Like people describe it, and I'm like, I don't even really know to envision. The best description I've heard was someone compare it to The Sims, where you kind of but we didn't have the virtual reality helmet. So imagine if we had the virtual reality joint with The Sims. Like people was really getting immersed in their life in The Sims. So imagine with the helmet on, the sound on your ears, you know what I'm saying? You in it now. Like your mind thinks you're there. You know what I'm saying? Like that's people could literally like evoke an emotion by meditating on a situation that happened, right? So if your mind believes it enough, it really exists. Like you know what I mean? Like you got a girlfriend in the metaverse, that's your girlfriend. Like you never met her, you never touched her, but you might feel like, yo, it's real. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's something that we would call weirdo shit back in high school. You know what I'm saying? When if we looked at it, be like, yo, that's some weirdo shit. That's some da-da-da. But the weirdo shit's what blows up nowadays, I guess. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I'm about to say, I was like, I still call it weirdo shit, but now it's way more acceptable.
Yeah. I can believe that 150%, man. So, yo, the holidays just passed, Keith, right? And it was weird, right? Like, your kid's really young right now. My daughter just turned 7. And I don't know why, for the first time, I was kind of getting weird about Santa getting the credit. Like I was like, yo, I don't really know how much I subscribe to this anymore. I might want to wrap this up, like, you know what I'm saying? You know it's gonna wrap up at some point. Well, I might want to wrap this up early and just be like, cause like, yo, like, I ain't gonna front. It really should be Jesus first. Let's be honest. It should be the days about Jesus.
Right.
But then next it should be me. Like I should get the credit for providing. Like why am I giving somebody else the credit for this shit? Because I really am sacrificing and making shit happen. Like why am I giving somebody the credit? And then I get looked at like second fiddle because now it's like you want to take something away. You know what I'm saying? And then you know what I mean? Like be like, yo, you want to say, yo, I got you this, I got you that, but then you don't want to fuck up the fantasy. So then you like no, actually Santa got it. You know, you gotta catch yourself like mid tantrum and shit. So it's like I'm about ready to wrap this shit up, bro. I don't know how I feel about it no more.
My pops didn't even wrap gifts and shit when I was growing up. Christmas gifts and shit. He didn't even give them shits on Christmas. It'd just be like December 17th. He'd be like, oh, I got this. And I'm like, is this for Christmas, man? There's a statute of limitations on this shit. You got to give it like within like a few hours of Christmas at least.
You're like, this is just a donation.
just tossing me shit. You just tossing shit across the room. Like, all right, here's a Nintendo. Don't drop that shit.
Nah, I remember the year I learned that he didn't exist was one year I woke up and my parents must have said, yo, we gonna wake up in the morning and wrap this up, and then they ended up oversleeping. So we woke up and the tree looked the same way it did the night before, mad empty underneath. So yeah, that was And the next thing we know, they're like, yeah, just go back upstairs. And whole gang of presents under there. So I was like, all right, man, we just doing this for the visual effect now. But I really thought about it. I was like, I don't know how I feel about that no more. Like, I think it need to be Jesus and me. Like getting credit on this.
Well said. I think it should be Jesus and me. We should be getting it. I love that. You should say that shit at church.
All right, man. Yo, Keith, man, we haven't spoken a minute and a lot has happened, man. And this thing that happened, and we actually kind of fortunate that it fell on this week that we're recording because when the news first broke, I don't think we actually recorded that week, and that would be the Ahmaud Arbery verdict. The sentencing actually just came out with all three men being convicted to life in prison, 2 without the possibility of parole. But first, I want to actually get your thoughts on just the verdict alone. Was that surprising? Was there some hesitation or maybe doubt that it would go in the direction that it did? I remember they had like a mostly all white jury. I remember like a lot of funny business was kind of going on with the jury selection in terms of that. And even just the whole way that we found out about the video was some funny business going on. So did you think that justice would prevail in this situation? And are you satisfied at all?
I knew they'd get convicted. I'll be honest, I did not know that the sentence, they would have threw the book at them like that. I'll be totally honest. I thought the dude who was videoing, I thought they would have had some kind of leniency on him, but the judge gave him, what was it, like 30 with an L on it? So
yeah.
They got that justice system, that full weight of the justice system on them.
Yeah, it's rough, man. Like, but I think well deserved. They did some torturous shit. That's some wild boy shit that they did, man. And I don't know why. As I get older now, for some reason I hear stories and I put myself in the position of the people that experienced it, and that's some scary shit to go through, bro. Like fucking.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think once you through these court cases without like the veneer that the media might put on some of these things and the talking voiceover and all that stuff, and when you just see the video, like they play the evidence, that shit is crazy, man. Like even if you made it out of that situation unscathed, well, I'm gonna put unscathed in quotes, like that would ruin your life, or at least the next piece of your life. But unfortunately, he was murdered. So that's a different story, but just leading up to his murder, how horrible that the last moments of his life were, that's rough to think about.
Yeah. The judge actually held a little moment of silence in there. His mom gave a impactful impact statement. What's crazy too, and not even we could talk real here, right? We in the trust tree, bro. Like, for some reason, right, I guess it's a little bit more scary or terrorizing the fact that it was somebody from another race, right? Because like if I walked in a neighborhood and I'm like, yo, they, you know what I mean, just niggas is wilding out here, I'm on my P's and Q's, right? You know what I'm saying? And if it just so happens that shit pops off, it was kind of like, oh well, boom, shit went left, we expected it to go left, let's do whatever we gotta do, knuckle up, like you gotta do what you gotta do. But I think the fact that you were just in somewhere that you're not expecting that to go down, and then it's somebody of a different race, in this particular, like a white person that's kind of like a white supremacist, I think that shit is like even more terrorizing, bro.
Yeah, definitely terrorizing because, he ran wherever, he probably picked a running route that he felt safe in, like most people do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because no one's gonna run in a bad neighborhood. That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
exactly. Like you feel safe from cars, you feel safe from other people, you feel safe from whatever is broad daylight. And you just all in all, everything is just safe and safe. You're going for a nice little run. So, I think the different race thing, I more or less agree with it because there's the devil, right? You know how to, or you think you know how to posture yourself in front of the devil, So white people, they probably have a certain antennas up for white violence, and black people have their antennas up for black violence because you kind of know what that looks like, and when it's coming. If you're not in your neighborhood and there are people who are different from you, you're like, I don't know how to identify a threat, right? So like Trayvon Martin probably didn't realize what kind of threat he was under. He was like, man, get out of my face. And this guy, like all these different people who die from people of different races. You just don't recognize as quickly what that true threat is gonna look like. So I can imagine, like you said, like terror. Dude pulled out a whole gun they chased him down with a truck. Like, I mean, by that point, clearly it's terrorizing, but it's like, you may have heard of shit like that in history books, but it's like, it feels so distant that what is now is happening to you is insane.
And even like the devil, with that scenario, right? Look, in like an urban atmosphere, they might rob you, right? They might jump you, right? They might take what you got on you. They're not gonna pull out a shotty and fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna say it's impossible, but more than likely, they're not trying to kill you. These dudes are trying to kill him. Like, that's the fucking crazy part about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and under the guise of a citizen's arrest.
Right.
Which who even knows that kind of, if they verbalize that during the altercation. Like, you know what I'm saying? They could have been a whole nother shit they was yelling at him. So
hell yeah.
It's a nutty situation. Condolences are with my Orbeez family, and definitely I know that verdicts don't give you the peace you need in those situations, but at least this isn't one where we got to go out and make noise and scream, and just so people can realize how much of an injustice this was. So I'm guessing justice was served. But to switch gears, man, you been keeping up with this Ghislane Maxwell case at all? And like,
I have not.
Jeffrey Epstein, nothing. Like, it's just you heard about Jeffrey.
Yeah, I heard about Jeffrey Epstein, but the I don't know how to pronounce her name, Ghislane or whatever. Like, she. I'll be honest. I keep up with it through headlines because that whole circle, just those folks, man, the shit is really upsetting. Like Prince Andrew and Ghislane and Jeffrey Epstein and it's just insane.
Bill Clinton, Donald Trump. Bill
I'm not even gonna do Donald Trump like that to name him with it, because I think him and Jeffrey Epstein might have been friends or associates or something. So I'm not. But I did hear that like mad famous people be like powerful people get named. Like they just like, yeah, man, Bill Clinton was there. He was around the corner, and it's crazy because like imagine you have a party and one of your invitees, their cousin shows up and. You don't even know them, but they're the plus one, and they do, they're into some weird shit. They didn't necessarily do it at the party, but maybe at your party they had a conversation about it. Maybe they had, a conversation lead into the conspiracy. Then they'd be like, yeah, at Keith's party, this and that happened. And I'm like, oh, come on, bro. Like, I don't even know you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're plus one. I was arguing for you not to come. We didn't have enough food. I said, all right, whatever. You my mans. And
Whose
so,
mans is this?
Word. So I wouldn't even do. I'm not even prepared to do Trump like that. I know a lot of people who don't like him. Like, yeah, man, Trump was there too. I knew he was dirty, but I don't want to go that far.
Well, let's give people just the background. So Ghislane was found guilty on 5 of the 6 criminal counts in her sex trafficking case, and actually one of those criminal counts carries a maximum sentence of 40 years in prison. Ghislane was like Jeffrey Epstein's right-hand woman. She's accused of grooming young girls to basically be part of this like sex trafficking ring that Jeffrey Epstein had a private island, and apparently he would fly very powerful people out to that island where God knows what happened with young women. But the allegations from some of the young women are that they were basically like child prostitutes. Now, here's the thing, right? There's a lot of theories out there, and I think QAnon actually did a favor to this by like making it so much of a crazy sounding scenario that you're even just talking about it. You kind of sound like it's really wild, but I mean, there's a theory out there that Jeffrey Epstein was kind of setting these people up because they were powerful people. Like, kind of like, yo, you want to take a trip? You know what I'm saying? Like, we about to go party, da-da-da-da-da. And you thinking like, yo, this is an old-ass dude. Like, he got mad bread. Yeah, he about to have, like, the baddest Instagram chicks on this island. Like, it's about to be popping. And then you get to the island and you looking around and you like, there's a whole lot of young bitches on this on this island, dog. But you done already took a picture on his plane. You done already like got, credit cards or whatever saying that you was in this location at da-da-da. He got all this against you. Now he can use you for what he wants because your name is in it. You know what I'm saying? You're already part of it. So there's that theory that's out there that Jeffrey was using these people. Then there's the thing that they knew exactly what was going on. They went out there basically looking. You got Prince Andrews with his arm around a young girl in the hotel. and then Ghislane in the background, and picture just look wild. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's that theory that's out there. So that makes people think like, all right, well, there's a lot of powerful players in this. Maybe that's why Jeffrey had to off himself, or maybe Jeffrey didn't off himself. He got really killed, you know what I mean, taken out in jail. But the funny thing with this Ghislane shit is she just got found guilty, right? Her brother comes out, so she's not going to talk. And it's weird because you feel like, yo, if you was going to talk, this is your chance to talk, right? If you was going to try to make some type of deal to get your shit lowered in some way, shape, or form, boom, you're going to talk. But her brother went like out his way to like announce that to the media she's doesn't plan on implicating anybody or anything like that. So people saying that might be a dog whistle to whoever out there to get shit moving, that they know that she's going to ride. Because basically if she admits guilt in any way, shape, or form, her whole thing is that she's a victim of Jeffrey Epstein. That's her defense. Like, she was actually a victim of it. She wasn't doing the grooming. So I guess they feel like once she says, yo, I was part of it, I'll give you this information, now she has implicated herself. But she's going to go off the theory of, nah, I don't know what was going on, I wasn't part of it, blase, blase, blah. So basically she's gotten convicted, hasn't been sentenced yet. And now this week, 2 jurors come out to the media saying that they were victims of sexual abuse, which is something that they lied about on their questionnaire to be jurors, causing now this case to now be possibly a mistrial or have to be actually retried.
Right.
And the whole shit just looked funny. Like right in front of our faces. Like a lot of media publications aren't really, this isn't headline news, other than the day that, that she was convicted. And it's like, yo, but it really could be some funny shit going on behind the scenes right in front of everybody's faces.
Yeah, man. Shit is different in rich white people world, man. All that shit you see in the movies, the Pelican Brief, like that's rich. I don't know. That's a rich. I guess that's that's my view of what a rich white people world is like. I don't know. Maybe if I get rich enough and I start hanging out with white people, maybe it's not like that. But oh shit, I thought your life was like the Firm starring Tom Cruise. Where, really you just do normal shit. You play racquetball, a little bit of hoops and shit.
Shit, no, it's and Ghislane was a powerful lady. You know what I'm saying? Her dad was a powerful lady, so you don't know who they friend, and all the people that they are connected with and implicated to are powerful people. So I don't know. It's one of those cases where it's like, yo, I feel like people don't even really want to muddy themselves about talking about it because there's so many people involved with it. Like Jack Dorsey had a Twitter. You know what I mean? Like I said, Bill Clinton, just Bill Gates, like, and Prince Andrew. You know what I mean? So I think like Prince
Andrew actually did something.
Yeah, bro. Prince Andrew's the wildest one of them all. But yeah, basically, one of the jurors, went by the name of Scotty David, told that he used his and this is the wild part about it. He's saying that he used his personal experience of abuse to assuage some of the doubts that other jurors had about accusers' testimony. So basically, like, he was using his real life sexual abuse to like kind of like persuade, like, yo, I think, you know what I mean, like that she's telling the truth because she wouldn't have said it like this or she wouldn't have reacted like that. And I'm like, why would you tell a media publication that? Like, why would that be something you bring up afterward? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was one thing if the other jurors brought it up, like, yo, this one other juror would kept, you know what I mean, going hard and arguing, bringing up their like experiences. But the person that did it actually came out and said it. And then another lady came out and said the same exact thing too.
Man, Q is behind the scenes just orchestrating the whole thing.
Q might still had a little puppet strings going, man. January 6th just happened, the anniversary, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll be honest, man. It's an awkward ass anniversary. Everything about it is weird and marking the day. I get why, but it's just the whole thing is just very strange to me.
You mean like Kamala and Joe doing speeches?
Yeah, in my town there was I don't know, some kind of march or something, and I'm suburban now, so I get emails from my town and shit, and it's just announcing different events. And, it's not like living in the city because literally you get a email with 5 bullet points, and that's literally everything going on in the town for the next month. So, but one of the things is that on January 6th, there was going to be like I think they described it as like a protest or a march or something like that. And I'm reading it, and I never read long emails, but the only reason I read it is that I don't understand which side of the January 6th debate this was for. You know what I'm saying? That
Oh, you don't know who they were marching for?
Yeah, because it was like I think it was like a protest. I think the word they used was protest. I'm like, what are they on January 6th? Are they saying that these people shouldn't have got arrested? I was just, man, because shit is fucking weird nowadays, our world.
Nah,
so I just don't know.
You're right. They can't be protesting the sentences because everybody got light ass sentences. That was it. You know what I mean? Barely have like a tenth of the people even got like arrested. So shit is like is a crazy day. It's a weird thing to commemorate. I feel like we can't forget. I feel the never forget vibe. You know what I mean? Because it's easy to in today's headline society to just kind of be like, oh yeah, remember that thing that happened a couple years ago? So I get that, but it's just like, all right, bro, like let's not celebrate this shit. Let's not make it like it's fine. And then Joe going hard at Trump with the speech, like, where was this energy? Why did you need the day to come by to have this energy? You know what I'm saying? You could have, if you felt like that, you could have said that.
Yeah, well, it's an election year, so you know Joe's gonna be going ham.
It is an election year, man, and a lot of people don't vote in the midterms. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people let them join. They only vote in the big one. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard, bro. It's hard to keep up with them little elections. But really, those are the people that I think affect our lives the most on a day-to-day basis.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. That's why a lot of, you know, I be hearing about these small towns that, you know, where the legislator or the town mayor or whatever it is, like they get to know the constituents fucks with them and all this type of stuff. And I think they get it right. Probably most of America, people don't know who I'll be honest, and that goes for me too, who their county executive is. I don't even know what they got out here, bro.
I don't know. I don't even
Secretary
know
of State, all that shit.
And those the motherfuckers that run the shit. Like, I think it's that information, you know, that sentiment is getting out there that people are like, yo, the people that really run it are the ones y'all not really paying attention to. Y'all got to start paying attention to these elections. But I just don't know how much people are, because the big one 2 years ago was so exhausting. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit's exhausting, man. Them political years, bro. So I think a lot of people are like, all right, man, I'm fall back, da-da-da. But like, nah, you can't. You can't fall back now, because then before you know it, you might not even be able to vote. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers will take your rights away.
Yeah.
Keith, there's been a lot going on in the news lately, man, and we gonna switch things up to my favorite segment, man. Have you heard?
Keep connected.
I got a question. Now the question I ask you is, how bad you want to know? Black.
I hear some headlines in the news, and I bring them to the table to ask my dog if he's heard any of these. First up, Keith, have you heard about a young lady named Flurona?
Nah, I haven't heard about Flurona. What's she saying about me?
Flurona does not work at the local strip clubs, y'all. Flurona is the latest, I guess, virus combination to come out of the pandemic, where flu and corona simultaneously attack a person.
That's crazy. I know they got combined tests where you could get tests for the Rona and flu at the same time, but I guess it makes sense because people are out and about now. Last year, nobody was getting the flu because everyone was wearing masks and everyone was staying inside.
Yep. Because that mask mandate that we have in stores, that's only, you in Jersey anyway. But I was going to say that's like a New York State thing that we got, but that's not obviously nationwide. Because we was watching a basketball game and Shorty was like, yo, what's the deal with the mask? Why some people wearing masks, some people not? And I'm like, oh, they in Dallas. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, I think only the people in the front rows have to wear it or some shit. But obviously in New York you gotta wear it if you go inside of a store or something like that. So yeah, you got people not wearing masks, you got people out and about, parties, bars, nightclubs. Yeah, you're gonna get those people the flu numbers that were so low last year are gonna spike right back up just because the masks were definitely preventing the spread of that.
That's crazy, man. As if we don't have enough to deal with. But I think right now we're probably moving into the phase of figuring out how much virus can we live with. It's not about eliminating it, but just, you know, I could see a situation in which doctors or the researchers are looking at how bad really is the Omicron variant. Like, how terrible is it really? And I don't think we know yet, but they're saying it's milder, but people catch it quick as hell. And I would imagine that some people are dying from it still. So I don't know, man.
No, it's I was thinking to myself today, like I wanted to get like, remember maybe it had to be during mid to end of 2020. I was like, yo, I should get some DJ Playboy masks. And I was like, man, we ain't gonna be doing this mask thing for too much longer. They about to drop the the vaccine. Man, I'm like, yo, now more than a year later, I'm sitting here like, damn, I should have got the mask. Like I should have invested in that shit, you know what I'm saying? Because we still here with the mask situation. And now we got a new variant that just dropped this week. Keith, have you heard of the IHU variant discovered in France?
Hell no, I hear about it. There's a new one?
Oh,
man.
Yeah, about the IHU, man. Yeah, man. First of all, I heard a stat this week. I gotta fact check myself. I don't know how true it is, but America has not discovered any of the variants since the pandemic has begun. They've all come from places outside of the United States.
I wonder if that's a bad thing or a good thing.
The person that was dropping the stat was painting it as a bad thing, saying that it's due to the lack of cohesiveness between, I guess, all the states for their virus reporting. It's kind of it's kind of separated, like people aren't working together. So I mean, I guess if there was more cohesiveness, then things would be discovered quicker. I don't know. That was his argument for it. But I think he was even just speaking to the capability of our research departments, like why he's like, he felt like we should have discovered one by now. But that could also be just a geography thing, right? Person who happens to get sick in this place, they're going to discover it there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I can't tell how good or bad of a thing that is, because like, South Africa discovered Omicron, but then like the U.S., or at least some people, I think including the U.S., kind of almost blamed them, almost like, yo, can't focus South Africa. They got Omicron. Like, that's crazy.
What y'all doing? What y'all doing out there?
Exactly. But it's just that they discovered it.
Yeah. It's actually they doctors is on their grind.
Right.
Like, motherfuckers, right? Like, it's like we treating them like we punishing them like, yo, like, because by the sound of it, you hear it in the headlines, you be like, oh, you think a village somewhere is all suffering from it? It could just be the doctor just happened to be in Africa when he discovered it. That's what
exactly.
You know what I mean? Somebody having to get sick. But according to this, the IHU was discovered and been on the radar about as long as Omicron has been on, and it sounds like the World Health Organization feels that it is not as serious as Omicron. And that Omicron will probably be around longer than this. But I also feel like they tell us about a variant, and at first it's 2 people, then it's 12 people, then you hear, but that's just a dominant strain. So who knows what to believe when it comes to coronavirus nowadays, bro?
Yep. Listen to Q.
Keith, have you heard Sports Illustrated has named Jake Paul the 2021 Breakout Boxer of the Year?
I did hear that, and I didn't hear it. I saw it in an Instagram post, and guess what? I did not click and read it. I did not click on the link in the bio, but I saw what I needed to see. And then the comment, they said I can't remember the words they used, but essentially like, ain't nobody stopped them yet. So like, how is he not the breakout boxer of the year? And it's kind of true. I mean, say what you want about how he's picking his opponents and the fact that he hasn't fought in a solid professional fighter yet, boxer yet, excuse me. But I mean, this dude made crazy bank, and not only did he make bank, his opponents, at least Tyron Woodley, made bank. I don't know about his other opponents. Yeah. I haven't.
No, he actually, for what they compared to UFC fights, because he fought Ben Askren, they've made more than they would have made in a UFC fight, and he makes sure people on the undercard eat too, like better than they normally would.
That's crazy. Like, that's. I mean, I haven't followed it like closely, like the paydays and all this stuff. But all I know is that he got Darren Williams to fight Frank Gore. They must have got something. Like, when you see this shit, like usually historically, like when you see something like that, you be like, oh shit, like Darren Williams and Frank Gore are into some money problems. Now they're doing quite fine, and yet they still fought. Like, that's right. So Frank Gore was in the NFL. Frank Gore was in the NFL like last year. Yeah, he could go in the NFL anytime he want, apparently. Frank Gore is 48 years old. And Frank Gore done had like 3-4 successful stints, right? In the NFL.
Teams,
like
teams,
so
he can't go in that ring though anytime he want.
oh yeah, because Darren Williams bust that ass. But man, like shout out to Jake Paul. He did his thing. I don't like him. Let me establish that. But
why don't you like him?
I just don't like him. I don't like the cut of his jib. Say I don't like him personally. I just don't like him personally. I just don't like looking at him.
Why?
That's not my thing.
He said, I don't like look at him. Look at his face.
Look at him. Look at him. No, I mean, listen. I don't, like just personally, I don't like Floyd Mayweather, but I happen to think that he's the greatest boxer of my generation.
Got you.
Possibly the generation before, and I'm putting him up there with Tyson and all that. I'm not gonna say who's number 1 or 2, but he's probably top 5 at the least.
Yeah. Now, well, with Jake Paul, I think there's 2 things at play here. I think Jake Paul has beat everyone that's come his way. Everyone's talked shit as if it's going to be a breeze to fight him, and he's knocked them the fuck out. And the kid actually has some level of skill. Now, is he fighting the best boxers in the world? No. Is he fighting real boxers? No. But he's fighting people that said they was going to knock him the fuck out, and they didn't. You know what I'm saying? There's also people, he could be on steroids, who possibly, but I mean, his opponents could also be on steroids. There's no, you know what I'm saying? There's no testing. There's nothing stopping anybody from being on this.
There's something to be said. I know people saying that, oh, well, Tyron Woodley ain't no boxer, but he's a fighter. So at the very least,
combat sports.
He knocked out cold a professional fighter. Maybe not a boxer, but we at least know that he's good enough to beat somebody up who's a trained killer, right? Maybe with his legs and shit, or grappling or whatever. But the fact is that Tyron Woodley is trained to square a guy up and see when he's going to swing. And in this case, you only got to look for the swing coming from 2 limbs. And he got knocked out cold. Like cold. So this is not just he got beat up on decision. This ain't no TKO. This ain't no Jake Paul was just chipping away at his body or just tapping his jaw up a couple times. Like Jake Paul put him to sleep, face down, ass up. Crazy, bro.
I think the other thing that's at play too is Sports Illustrated knows that if they call Jake Paul the Boxer of the Year, everybody's gonna be like, what? And they're going to talk about it on the podcast. They're going to talk about it on ESPN. They're going to talk about it. And just because Jake Paul is polarizing, like, I'm not going to lie, Keith, I've known you for a long time. I've never really known you to say that many times that you don't like a person. You know what I'm saying? But there's something about Jake Paul that you said you don't like him. And I think he wants that, right? That's what he goes for. I don't know the kid that much, but from what I see from him, like, he wants to be the heel. He wants to be disliked because people pay to see him get knocked out. And for some reason, they're entertained by the fact that he doesn't. So it kind of is a weird dynamic with the consumer and his product. But you know what I'm saying? I think Sports Illustrated fed in. They're like, yo, we're gonna dig into that, and it's partially a troll, but then it's also like, well, disprove it. Yeah. What other boxer did you give a fuck about this year? Because I'll wait. You know what I'm saying?
Tyson Fury. So I think that Tyson Fury and Canelo Alvarez. I think they put it. They had strong years. But they said breakout though. But
think about it. They're better boxers than Jake Paul, right? But they don't have that buzz. Jake Paul has a big. They're like the number ones in their heavyweight division. You know what I mean? Whatever divisions they're fighting in. They're if you want to see boxing, like to learn, watch those guys. They're the top of the sports. They should be running it, right? But they should be the face
not breakout. So it's not boxer of the year. It's breakout. So I don't. Yeah, to that point, true. Like no one. They broke out a long time ago.
Yeah. But I'll give them that. But then. They should be getting Sports Illustrated headlines if we're going to be talking about boxing, right? You feel like they should be getting some type of recognition in that sport. Whereas when you hear people talk about boxing, they're talking about this kid. I think they knew what they were doing. Sports Illustrated knew, like, we make this a headline, it's going to get people mad. And it brings us, actually, before we even move on to that, I want to talk about, because you mentioned Floyd Mayweather. Apparently, he hasn't paid Logan Paul for their fight that they had last June. Which I think is, if it's true, the Paul brothers have been known to lie before, but if it is true, that's kind of scumbaggy, bro.
Yeah.
And it takes away from his legacy. Like, it just like, bro, you you was the greatest, the boxer. You started your own thing to not jerk boxers, and if that is true, and that's something that, like, you know what I'm saying, like I said, and we got to find out if it is or not. That's sad, because why would you do to boxers what you complained about being done in terms of getting jerked? Because basically, from what I hear now, they got to go to court, and you know what I mean, like, that's just gonna get tied up for a bunch of years. How long you gonna take to get your money, if you even get it, and if your lawyers don't take a good chunk of it? So it's like, come on, it is.
I think like media and us being able to, you know, find out stuff like this gives people like Floyd Mayweather, who have like a strong legacy, to give them some more opportunities to destroy it. Like, I could imagine a situation in which, like, let's say Muhammad Ali, he retires, he finishes his career, then let's say he puts some kind of off-color remark on an Instagram comment or something like that, like, you know, something, you know, what people today would consider sexist or racist or whatever it is. And people are like, oh, I don't know about Muhammad Ali, man. Or like he buys some shit, or walks by a guy asking for donations, like a Salvation Army Santa. But Muhammad Ali, the dude walked past the Salvation Army Santa. I don't know about that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, Floyd Mayweather, I don't like him, but maybe because I've seen him so much.
Yeah, he gives you reason not to like him, and you know, this doesn't help. Like, it's like,
right.
So, you know what I mean? But like I said, I hope they figure that out, and you know what I mean, that whoever deserves to get paid does get paid in that situation. Let me see. Keith, have you heard Antonio Brown retired in the middle of a football game last week?
Are they considering it a retirement?
Nah, well, I guess I mean, I think people more so are like, who's going to pick him up now? But I think they said that before also, right? That's been said before also, so...
Yeah, I mean, he's talented. I mean, he's I'll say this: he's a bizarre guy. Like, and it's so difficult to understand stuff like this from the outside looking in. Same thing with Kyrie, right? Like, it's just difficult to understand. Like, people say he's this and he's that, try to diagnose him with CTE from afar and all this type of stuff. Who knows? I mean, I'll be honest. With my first reaction was like, "Oh boy, Antonio Brown's being Antonio Brown." But then he put out that statement, and I kind of believed it. The fact that he got cut on the sideline, and you know, he told them about a foot, and you know, they're like, "Come on now, you playing or not? And if not, you cut," like that type of thing. But then he went on, and I think he threw a little salt on Tom Brady on some interview he was doing.
Yeah, no, he made, well, just for everyone who doesn't know, according to Antonio Brown's side of the story, he was being asked to go back into a game where he felt he was injured, and expressed that, and Bruce Arians kind of told him, if you don't get back on the field now, you're going to be cut. And at that point, he decided to take off his pads and his shirt and walk off the field. And then at some point ran onto the field, ran into the end zone, and started waving at fans at MetLife Stadium that were there cheering for the Jets and, you know, the Bucks. And that was kind of like, oh, well, it was a head scratcher. What's happening? Like you mentioned, Antonio Brown came out and he released statements saying what happened. The Bucks kind of came out with let's pray for Antonio. Let's hope he's okay. Kind of statement about it at first. Antonio went on talking. Bruce Arians eventually had a press conference where he said he wasn't aware of any injury, and that's caused Antonio to respond by releasing text messages where he's talking to Bruce Arians about his injury, and Bruce Arians is like, well, we're going to really need you, so if maybe you could power through it, that type of vibe. Now, that could be doctor text, right? Who knows who Antonio Brown knows? You can know some graphic artists. They could be fake, so I don't know if we can necessarily go over that, but that's the thing. Antonio Brown, you mentioned this in our text message yesterday. Antonio Brown has given himself the right to be doubted, right? He doesn't get that benefit of the doubt because of how bizarre his behavior has been.
Yep.
That even caused me to wonder, like, was he a little normal before the hit from Vontaze Burfict? Like, if y'all could YouTube it after and look at that hit. But that was, I mean, I remember that being one of the most serious hits. And who knows about the mini concussions, right? That's the one where he was down on the ground for a while. But how about how many collisions he had that could have affected him? I don't want to paint that picture, or it could be CTE, because I feel like we give a lot of football players that out a little bit too much. Like, people talking about Zach Stacy, CTE, da-da-da-da-da. It could be, or he could just be a wild boy. Like, I'm not giving you either way, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not giving you that pass. You know what I mean? Like, unless they cut your brain open and we know it was CTE.
Right, and I think right now that's the only way to tell. And I think there's just so many football players that you bound to have some wild boys out there. You know what I'm saying? And you're bound to have to accept a few extra wild boys. Like basketball, you could cut dudes a little quicker. Like even if they're talented, like there's another talented dude, maybe not quite as talented as you, but maybe you could assemble your team in such a way where that wild dude could, like the Nets were number one without Kyrie at a point. They're not number one now in the conference, right? And I'm not saying he's a wild boy. I'm just saying to the fact of you could not have a really talented person and do well for a little while. But in football, it's not the case. So I wonder if that's the case. Like we see so many of them weird dudes that it's like in football, they just have to learn how to manage guys like that. And then eventually they just do weird stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there definitely needs to be some type of like program within the NFL where even any type of person that's ever played in the NFL, current or former, should have a place where they can talk to people, right? Just in case it is what we fear, you know what I'm saying? But even if it's not that, it's good to have an outlet. Like I haven't gone to therapy in a few months, but I plan on going back because I'm like, if it was working for me, why would I stop doing it? You know what I mean? And sometimes you need to being in that umbrella of the NFL was kind of therapy for some of these guys because they had a structure. They had, if something hurts, they go somewhere, right? If something's not right, they go somewhere. And being outside of it, maybe they don't have those resources or even know how to get them. So to have more accessibility to stuff like that, I think would be very beneficial for NFL players. But either way, wish the best for Antonio Brown. If he's bugging out, then maybe that's not the place where he should be anyway. Maybe that's not the healthiest environment. And if it is something more serious, then definitely hope he gets the help that he needs, man. Keith, have you heard actor Chris Noth is dealing with some Me Too allegations? If you don't know who that is, that's Mr. Biggs from Sex and the City. I think we spoke about him dying on a Peloton a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Like I was about to say, no, I have not heard. Even before you got to what the whole subject was, when you just said his name, I said have not heard at all. So I haven't heard any of this stuff.
Chris Noth. He has got to be famous for something other than Sex and the City, but I think most famously known for Sex and the City, his role as Mr. Big. Was
Did
gonna
he do
appear
a Law and Order or something like that?
I feel like he did, right? I feel like I knew him from another, like a TV show that wasn't on cable, but I could be wrong. But basically, he was gonna appear on the finale of Just Like That, which is the spinoff of Sex and the City. But now he's been cut from the finale because sexual assault allegations against the actor have come to light, and actually several women have accused him of it to the point where Sex and the City is like, yeah, he's just not that important in this other scene that we gotta take him out. But I mean, this is one of the first Me Too allegations that we're hearing of 2022. Do you think this is still going to be a thing, Keith, or do you think we've seen, kind of the fading away of the Me Too allegations? Because I feel like it's like people wait for you to blow up, or they wait for you to do something new to come out with it, right? Like, why is it got to be like nobody was talking about Christopher Noth before Sex and the City came back out?
Yeah, is it no way is it the end of it. I think that now they'll probably be more frequent. We might not even hear about some of them because now there's probably more mechanisms to understand how to deal with stuff like that. Like law enforcement and prosecutors' offices and stuff like that probably now know, how do we handle something like this? How do we take a testimony from a victim and all this type of stuff? So I think you're going to hear, let me say this. You're not going to hear about more of it, but there's going to be more of it because I feel as if because of hashtag Me Too, the world now knows how to deal and manage. Well, not fully, but we're still learning, but it's a lot better than it was some years ago. So, what's his name? Christopher Noth or Chris Noth or whatever. Yeah, I think he'll be dealt with. People will investigate it. We'll see what comes of it. But it's interesting because I heard that I don't watch Sex and the City, but I heard that like this season is about like a lot of like woke, quote unquote woke subjects. And I hate to use the word, but I don't feel like explaining the full sentences what I'm talking about. But like a lot of social awareness type themes is in the show this season.
Yeah, and that's what I was, what's crazy about it. I was like, yo, Sex and the City find some way to like get headlines regardless. Like I don't even watch the show and they find some way to stay in the headlines. Like, I mean, this isn't great for them, but it kind of falls in line with what you just said, right? Like that the people are talking about it. And then the actresses from the show have spoken out about him. like saying that they support the women that have coming out, and as you know, as they should. Like, I guess maybe they feel like something about his personality, they believe it. They've been around him, you know what I mean? But Sarah Jessica Parker, Cynthia Nixon, and Kristen Dixon all came out in support of the women who accused North of assaulting them. So they're not standing with him.
Word.
Keith, have you heard? Pabst Blue Ribbon, the bear, was wilding out on Twitter.
When you said PBR was wilding out, I was like, oh yeah, that's about right. But they were wilding out on Twitter. No, I have not heard, but I do know if you want to wild out, you get you a 24 case of PBR with you and just like two of your homies and just kick it.
Bug the fuck out. Bug the fuck out. Hope you don't throw up the next day.
Yeah.
The PBR decided to hop on Twitter to get some attention for their company and say, not drinking this January. I'm assuming that's in response to like a dry January. That's a thing that people do for their New Year's resolutions. Maybe some people don't drink. So they tweeted, not drinking this January. Try eating ass.
What?
That was the tweet. I feel like that's one of those things where they just like, yo, we just gonna wild out just to get attention. We're just gonna bug it, or it was a rogue social media director for PBR. I don't know. Either way, I could believe it. But the response for one person was PBR or ass. What's the difference? In which the Twitter handle for PBR responded, ask your mom. And then a few minutes later, and dad.
That's crazy. And you know what? I really don't think they get hurt by this. You know what I'm saying? Like PBR.
Not at all, right? It works out perfect for them. Like if it was planned, it works out perfect because they came out with the apology. They said, we apologize about language and content of our recent tweets. The tweets in question were written in poor judgment by one of our associates. They threw homie under the bus. Whoever they want to claim did it.
And promoted him.
Yeah. And then they get to move on as being like the party brand. That, you know what I mean? If you ain't got a lot of money, you go spend it on some beer.
Yeah, man. So PBR has to understand that there's like certain standards for how you communicate with people, just standards just of just humanity. But the thing is that people who frequent PBR's when you don't got no standards. Like that's what when I go to a bar and I'm like, yo, like I ain't trying to pay $9 for a glass of IPA triple brewed and shit like that. I'm like, yo, man, I don't give a fuck today. Today was hard at work. My family is pissing me off. Give me 5 PBRs, please. And then I give them $4, and that includes the tip. And that's PBR life, bro.
Yeah, man. Like it worked out. I think that is a problem though that I have nowadays, bro. I ain't gonna front. Like I remember a conversation I had with a dude one time, and he was thinking of starting like a YouTube channel, and then he was telling me some of his ideas that he wanted to do, and I just remember he listened to him, and it just sounded like he's like, I'm just gonna wild out as much as possible to get attention. And I'm just like, yo, I look at you differently now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why would you want to? Because then I feel like, well, wouldn't you have to continuously wild out? And actually, his strategy was like, and then I'm going to switch it and then get him on some da-da-da. And I'm like, but aren't they going to come to you for the wilding out? Like, aren't they going to expect that from you? But they don't care. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I think PBR did the same way. Like, let's wild out and then, hey, go back to business as usual.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They gonna come. You know what I mean? We're gonna talk. We're talking about it right now. The same thing we said earlier. You know what I'm saying? You do something, you're gonna get some attention. You're gonna trend or whatever that you need to, which trending has some type of currency in today's culture, you know what I mean? So they feel like, yo, if we get the trend, we won.
Yeah, but I don't think this would go over as well like if it were like Budweiser or Sam Adams or some shit like that. So only PBR could do some shit like this.
No doubt.
Narragantset.
Yep.
Like these cats could do shit like that, but you know.
Yeah. No, they know that it can work because, like you said, it's not that level of a brand. So no, it makes sense, 100%. But that's another episode in the books, man. Keith, where can my people find you at on social media, brother?
Instagram, @Memo_35.
Yep. And yo, people can find me on Instagram at Plickapeezy, PLICCAPEEZY. Also follow at Perfect Talk Radio on Instagram. Check us out at www.perfecttalkpodcast.com for every episode of the Perfect Talk Podcast. My radio show, The Night Shift, and the other radio show I do with my brother, DJ show, Money Talks Radio. We just dropped the episode 24, and we got the New Year's mix, so go check that out at perfecttalkpodcast.com. Every episode of Perfect Talk Podcast can be found on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever your local podcasts are. So please leave a rating, leave a review, hit us with a like, let us know what you think of the show, what we can improve on it, what you actually do like on it. Keith, we lost some people, man, recently, man. We lost John Madden, we lost Betty White, and this week we lost Sidney Poitier. So usually I ask you, you know what I'm saying, like what you watch on TV right now, but in remembrance of those people, man, like, were you ever a Madden head? Were you ever like into John Madden football at all, the video game?
Oh, the video game, of course. Like, I think everyone has been on. It's been like such a core part of people's lives. As you know, if you played any type of video games, then at some point you did, right? Like my strong Madden years was like 99 to like maybe like 2004 or something like that. So in fact, it was because of Madden that I learned the sport of football. Like, I wasn't a football player or nothing like that, but I learned like, all the calls, the different kinds of plays. If not for Madden, I wouldn't know what a draw is. Betty White.
Nah, yeah, you're right.
Betty White's amazing. Like, she super quick wit when you see her do interviews and do shows and stuff like that. Amazing entertainer. Sidney Poitier, he's just a legend. Like, he's an acting giant, especially if you're a black actor. Like, that's like the, Mount Rushmore, the pinnacle, the height of acting. Like, everyone looks to his performances and
my mom
tries
had
to emulate them.
My mom had Guess Who's Coming to Dinner and To Serve With Love on VHS. And I remember I used to see them VHSs all the time as a kid. And I just watched Betty White. They replayed her SNL appearance this past weekend, which I was like, yo, that was 2010? I didn't realize that was so long ago. But, they had Jay-Z on there, and it was a minute ago. But, yeah,
Crazy.
Betty White, held it down. But, yeah, that's another episode, man. Say goodbye to the people, brother.
Peace.
Rest in peace, Betty White, John Madden, Sidney Poitier. We about it. Peace.